The story opens up as Angel Monica and her strict but kind supervisor Tess are having a conversation. The two are on a boat in the middle of a lake and Monica appears to be visibly uncomfortable. That is because she is seasick and has never had to work near a large body of water before. Tess encourages her to take control of her fear because the next assignment will require her to be close to this very lake that they are currently on. The scene shifts to the residential part of the town where a local council member named Carter Evans is filming a promotional video. Carter is running for the post of U.S. Senator and nearby, his wife Angela Evans watches him with pride. She obviously loves him, but for some reason she refuses to be in his campaign videos. Moments later, Angela meets her new neighbor, Monica, who recently moved to the home right next to the Evans. The two women introduce each other and talk about general things like their hobbies. Monica realizes that Angela visits the local lake every afternoon, where she simply sits on a boat and relaxes. She also works at a local school as a teacher and is involved in various charities. Since the school needs volunteers, Angela asks Monica if she would be interested in a teaching job. The latter is absolutely delighted by the idea and accepts the offer. That very afternoon, Carter and Angela have a little argument. He wants Angela to be by his side during a campaign lunch. She, on the other hand, strictly refuses to participate in such public events. She then gets dressed up and leaves the house in a hurry. Monica watches on from the neighboring house as Angela drives away to the lake once more. Shortly afterwards, the angel uses her powers of invisibility and follows Angela to the lake. She sees that Angela is good friends with Landon, the man who runs a boating company by the lakeside. Angela even helps him write a letter to his estranged daughter. After renting a boat, Angela makes her way to the middle of the lake. She sits silently, rocking side by side and doing nothing but thinking. It is obvious that Angela is deeply troubled by something. Later that evening, she finally returns home after spending the whole day at the lake. Monica sits on the roof of her new home, completely unnoticed by the humans. She watches on as Angela gets out of her car right in front of her home. But before she can go in, a tall, white man whistles at her and gestures to her to come to him. Angela nervously goes to him and the two have a hushed conversation. It looks like the councilman's wife might be having an affair. The following day, Monica begins her volunteering work at the local school. She is great with children and helps them plant bean sprouts on small pots. She is soon joined by Angela, who had been talking to her husband only a few minutes ago. The latter reveals that she has finally agreed to join Carter in a campaign dinner later that night. Angela even invites Monica to the dinner, and the angel gladly accepts the offer. However, that night at the dinner, the reason behind Angela's weird behavior towards her husband becomes crystal clear. Carter hosts the party and gives a rousing speech in front of a packed house. Meanwhile, Angela sneaks away from the dinner with the same white man that she met in front of her house. Of course, Monica follows her without being seen and sees the two get into a room. Soon afterwards, Angela comes out sobbing and with bruises on her face. She is quickly joined by Monica, who admits seeing Angela get into a room with the man. The man's name is Matthew, but Angela isn't having an affair with him. In a shocking twist, Angela reveals that she used to be a high-class call girl during her college days, and Matthew used to be her pimp. She grew up in a very poor household and Matthew honey trapped her into sleeping with his friends for money. This whole gig lasted only a year, but ever since Carter began appearing on the news, Matthew has been blackmailing her for money. Shocked, Monica urges Angela to tell her husband the truth, but the latter cannot bring herself to do so. Monica, nonetheless, magically fixes her bruises, and the two women rejoin the party. In the following few days, the blackmailing continues. Matthew even calls Angela's home and threatens her to give him more money. Angela, as always, complies with it and then heads to the lake to drown out her worries. A few days later, Monica comes with a plan to save her friend from getting continuously ripped off. She suggests Angela to track down Matthew's whereabouts and confront him. She points out that even if Matthew reveals the truth, it will look like a random man trying to defame a political candidate's campaign. So, Angela follows this plan and confronts Matthew face to face. She boldly points out that it is her word against his and people will choose to believe her. However, to her utter shock, Matthew has clicked several pictures of her in compromising positions. With this proof, he can expose her anytime he wants. And for her insolence, he asks her to hand him $12,000 by the next day. Unfortunately, things get even worse for Angela as later that evening Carter asks her to give him the complete rundown of their campaign's funds. She has been siphoning money off of the camping to pay Matthew, and now her secret will surely come out. The next morning, Angela decides that she cannot take this any longer. She heads to the lake without any life jacket and thinks about ending her life. She even punctures a hole in her boat and slowly begins to sink down. But, at this crucial moment, Monica communicates with her telepathically. The angel shows her all the harrowing scenes of her students, her friend Landon, and her husband after her death. This changes Angela's mind and she decides to give life another chance. She also sees Monica in her angel form, beckoning her to swim ashore. Eventually, she makes it to the bank where Monica is waiting for her. The latter admits to being an angel and encourages her friend to tell her husband the truth. Soon afterwards, they reach back home and Angela finally has a heart-to-heart conversation with her husband. She tells him about her dark past and says she never wanted to hurt him. That is why she stayed in the dark, so that no one would see her and get a chance to derail his campaign. A relieved Carter embraces her and reveals that he had suspected she was having an affair instead. Now that things are all clear, the husband and wife decide to tell their story to the press. Episode 5. For her next task, Tess takes Monica to the rooftop of a school building. There, the two angels talk about the world which is changing at a rapid pace. With the onset of the internet age, everyone is busy modeming, downloading and escaping to the internet to forget about their worries. Anyone can talk to anyone in any corner of the world. However, this has also made people alienated from their own selves. Nonetheless, the two angels watch a young high school student, Cassie, who is playing a flute by the school's entrance. As the camera pans slowly downwards, we see that she is pregnant. The scene then shifts to a hospital where Cassie is brought in as she is going into labor. Of course, Monica is present at the scene, and this time she is the nurse who will help the young girl through the difficult process. Monica tried to calm down the young girl and tells her that soon she will be holding a baby in her arms. However, Cassie says that she won't be holding the baby, a remark that worries our angel. As the excruciating minutes pass by, Cassie starts to feel the pain of labor. She begins to panic and blabbers that she can't do this. Monica grabs her hand and says she noticed a flute in her bag. The high schooler replies that she plays in a choir and has always loved classical music. Using this information, Monica tells her to imagine the music, the flutes, percussions, guitar and the crescendos of an exhilarating tune. This helps the teenager to calm down and she gets back on track to deliver the baby. Cassie also tells Monica that the father of her baby, Josh, plays in a heavy metal band. Outside the room, Cassie's mother, Louise, and her best friend are waiting for the good news. It is then that we are shown a middle-aged couple, the Feldermans, who are talking to Louise. They are here to adopt the baby as soon as it is born. While the best friend doesn't seem too bothered by this, Louise has a deeply saddened look on her face. Back inside, Cassie finally gives birth, thanks to Monica being by her side. She, however, refuses to hold or even look at her newborn daughter. The teenager is well aware that she will have to eventually part ways with the child, so prefers not to get attached to it. The Feldermans, on the other hand, are utterly happy when they see the child. They have found their daughter after trying and failing to have a baby for several years. The following morning, Cassie's boyfriend, Josh, arrives at the hospital. He gets a brief glimpse of his newborn before heading to meet his lover. Turns out, last night, he was playing in a town that is 50 miles away from the hospital. The young couple talk about their newborn and it is obvious that they both have some unresolved regret about the decision to give the baby away. Josh also reveals that he will be on the road with his band, playing at different venues. He wants Cassie to come with him and promises to give her a bright future. Moments later, Louise enters the room with adoption papers and Josh signs them. The mother and daughter, however, do not talk to each other. That night, while talking to Monica, the poor teenager breaks down into tears. She can no longer take it and wants to hold her baby. She is also unsure about her decision to give away the baby for adoption. In response, Monica tells her that she must make a decision with love for the baby, and not for herself. Later, Cassie asks another nurse to bring her baby. The teenager holds the little newborn for the first time and immediately fills with motherly love. Cassie then changes her mind and quickly runs away with the baby. Hours later, Monica comes to check on Cassie only to realize she is gone. This news also reaches Louise and the Feldermans, who are worried that Cassie might not give up the baby. On the other hand, the teenager doesn't have enough money to reach the town where Josh is playing with his band. Fortunately for her, Monica arrives in her car and says she is headed the same way. The two then drive off, while Tess also keeps watch over the mother and child. This is when things start to go all wrong and Cassie's young age reflects in her decision-making. Exhausted, she falls asleep in a motel, not realizing that her baby is getting cold and is getting sick. Outside, the two angels who are keeping watch on the mother and daughter are visited by Adam. He is the angel of death and only appears when someone is about to die. Monica immediately realizes that the baby is seriously ill and needs urgent medical help. Seconds later, she uses her magical abilities and appears to young Cassie in her dreams. Monica gently urges her to immediately take the child to the hospital. The teenager wakes up and obliges, but once she is in the hospital, truth starts to sink in. Cassie begins to realize she is not ready for the rigors of motherhood. After yet another heart-to-heart conversation with Monica, she decides to return home and give the baby to the Feldermans. Cassie then heads home and embraces her mother. Turns out, Louise never hated her daughter or judged her decisions. She only wanted to see Cassie healthy and feared she would do something stupid. At the infant dedication ceremony, Mrs. Feldman announces that she and Ben have named their baby Faith. Cassie asks for a moment with her daughter and plays the flute for her legacy of music that runs in the family. Episode 6. A few weeks later, Monica is in the middle of a meadow. In front of her are big piles of papers and a computer through which Tess is bellowing orders at her. The old supervisor tells Monica to learn about taxations because she will be dealing with a lawyer next. A confused Monica says she should be learning about law if she is dealing with a lawyer. Turns out, her next mission is a junior legal assistant named Charles Hibbard. The scene shifts and we get a glimpse inside the life of Charles. He is a very hardworking man and works at a firm that deals with legal matters pertaining to inheritances. Monica appears in his office and says she is his new secretary. However, Charles immediately gets nervous on seeing her. He thinks that the firm has given him a secretary because they think he is not doing a good job. It is obvious that Charles deals with constant nervousness and panic attacks. Nonetheless, the junior lawyer shows Monica around his office. The walls are adorned by framed documents which have signatures of various historical figures. Charles takes real pride in showing off his collection, but their chat is interrupted by the firm's senior lawyer. He hands Charles his first task for the day: track down a woman named Robin Dufresne and hand her a check of $200,000. Apparently, Robin's deceased uncle had left that hefty sum of money in his will. Following this, Charles and his new secretary, Monica, head to a roadside trailer. There, they find a rather happy-go-lucky Robin who seems to be having a blast, despite living in such bare minimum levels. They hand her the check, make her sign some papers, and head back to the office. Unfortunately, a few hours later, the senior lawyer delivers bad news. The woman that Charles gave the money to happens to be the wrong Robin Dufresne. In fact, the real Robin Dufresne is right there with the senior lawyer. She wants her money back or else she will sue the entire firm. The senior lawyer then tells Charles to get back the money within the next 48 hours, or else he will be fired. With no other options left, Charles and Monica then head back to the trailer to talk to free-spirited Robin. Their bad luck continues as they come to know that Robin has moved to a bigger apartment nearby. They soon reach the new apartment and convince Robin to give back the money. Rather surprisingly, she readily agrees to hand over the cash. The only problem is that she has spent $70,000 of it. In the next few hours, Charles, Monica, and Robin then return back all the stuff the latter bought. This includes canceling her apartment lease, a giant chandelier, a giant Egyptian mummy statue, and several brand new shoes. They recover a substantial amount of money thanks to Robin being an easy-to-deal-with person. Next, they head to a shady-looking biker bar where Monica had lent her ex-boyfriend, Sully, a whooping $17,000. They find Sully, but as expected he refuses to cough up even a single penny. However, Monica startles the big burly biker with some amazing billiard game tricks. She promises to teach him the trick if he gives them the money. Initially, Sully refuses to do so, but then Monica points out that he can make a lot of cash if he learns her secret trick. This changes his mind and he tells them to wait until 3 a.m. Sully plans to use Monica's trick shot to bet and earn a lot of money. In the meantime, Charles and Robin spend time in the back room of the bar. Turns out, this was what the Angels always wanted. According to Tess, Charles is a hypochondriac with an imagined heart condition. He has lived his entire life in fear of rejection, of failure, and of death. He has buried himself with work and refused to live life. Tess wants him to fall in love with Robin and learn to enjoy his time. As planned, their plan seems to be working. Charles and Robin have an intimate conversation and share their childhood stories. She grew up in an orphanage and he has a secret hobby of collecting rare signatures. However, when they come out of the back room to collect the money, Sully betrays them. This forces Monica to use her angelic powers to scare Sully and his friend. They eventually give back the $17,000 and run away. Now, they only have to get back the last $20,000, but Robin has spent that for the renovation of the orphanage she grew up in. Charles, now motivated by the words of Monica, refuses to get the money back from the orphanage. Instead, he offers to cover it up by selling his authentic Alexander Hamilton signed expense book. With the money repaid, he confesses his love to Robin and the duo decide to start a new and exciting life ahead. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave 1,000 likes or 100 comments if you'd like us to continue part 3. Thank you.